And even if it's not a resolution, it's these personal goals you
Oh
have.
God, yeah, seriously.
You
I'm
know,
so sick of having the same one like for the last like 40 years. It's like I just keep repeating them over and over and over and over and over again. It's like, okay, stop already. Stop the madness.
So girls, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Shoot.
Do you or do you not believe in New Year's resolutions?
Dun, dun, dun.
This is where the drum roll needs to be.
You need some sound effects.
Yes. I love New Year's resolutions, but I never keep them. So what does that mean? I love the idea. I do though. I love the idea of, sitting down and going, okay, what do I want to have happen in my life? What do I want to, let's create some goals. Let's do all of this stuff, right? I think my younger self, my goals were always, well, they were just unrealistic goals, right? It was sort of like I made them unrealistic. And I think if I could go back and talk to my 20-something person, I would say, you gotta lighten up, girl, like just lighten up. Like they don't have to be quite that serious. But I think it's important to have a direction so that you know where to point the car and go there, right? So I think it's fun to say, I want to do, travel, I want to do this, I want to do that. But I don't think it necessarily has to be nailed down like a goal. I think goals don't have to be a part of New Year's resolutions.
So you look at them differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Freshness of the new year. I like the idea that the new year and whatever happened in the past is in the past, and it's a whole new year in front of you. I do things slightly different in that I write a letter, one of those, write a letter, and I look at it and I go, okay, so I write my letter saying where I want to be next year. So in 2022, where do I want to be in 2023? And then I read my letter and I look and say, hey, did you get where you wanted to be? And if you didn't, why not? Like what held you back? Was it, environmental obstacles, like it just didn't happen? Or is it something in myself? So I kind of have, that's my goal setting, is just a letter. No, just a letter saying, this is Tracy in 2023. So I'll be reading my letter shortly, and either I'll give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
So you don't look at this letter at all during the year?
No. I would write it out, and I would say, this is where I want to be in a general sense about family, finances, relationship with children, relationship with friends, and just a general, like I know that one of them is whether I'm giving more of myself, like serving more. And so I'll look at that letter and see if I did what I said I would do. In my 20s, it would have been about weight. It would have been about all outside, superficial.
Yeah, superficial.
And nothing like I'm not, everyone has their own goals, but that's what it would have been. I want to lose this, or I want to do something that was physical, and now it's all mental. And am I becoming a better person than I was last year?
So so what has happened when you've read that letter the next year? Have you had time? How have you felt the next time you've read that letter? Like, have there been the ebbs and flows?
I think by putting it down and thinking about it, because I also do little things every day to, like, just little personal things that I write down every day, that I look at it, and usually I'm pretty good about accomplishing that, because like I said, it's not a physical thing. It, like something would be, though, I want to be healthier. So I would say that I'm so happy that I'm, doing my daily walks or something along that line. And because that sits in my brain, I pretty well accomplish what I want to accomplish. And that's what I mean. It's not like, oh, I worked out 10 times and all this stuff. It's that I'm moving forward and being a healthier person, being a better person.
Awesome. I love that. I
Mhm.
love it. And I like, Tracy, also how you said, and I guess I have that same feeling, Tracy, on the resolution and the goals, they're separate. So I think what gets me is when somebody says, oh, I've made all these resolutions. Well, when you go into it like so fast, so forward, and like they're like, I think only like 80 to 90% of resolutions fail, you know, because I think we look at it as, well, I am going to lose 15 pounds, certain January 1st, blah, 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 blah. Instead of looking at it as my goal in 2022 is to be a healthier person, and not, or my resolution, excuse me, let's change the verbiage here a little bit. My resolution is to be this healthier version of myself in 2022. The
Mhm.
goal is January, my goal is to do this, this, and this, and to build it up, because I think sometimes we go into these things not understanding how you're going to get there.
Mhm.
Like, I'm going to lose 15, 20, 50, whatever it is. I'm just using weight because that's always the biggest thing that everybody says. But they don't. So, okay, you hit the 20 pounds. Did you starve yourself? Do you still have the mindset of, do you still think you're overweight? Did you what did it cost you, instead of, I want to be a healthier version of myself? And then how do you work on that healthier version, Tracy? Like you said in your letter, you do a little tidbit. And I like, Tracy, how you say I have a resolution. So I guess I was looking at it wrong. So thank you, ladies. I was looking at, sometimes I think people look at a resolution as, this is my goal. But this is what I want to do in 2022 or whatever year it is. And then you take that and now you break it down, whether it breaks it down to 12 months, 365 days, 52 weeks, however, you know. But I do believe when you come to a new year, one, I also think it's really good to reflect
Yes.
on what you've gone through the past year, and not to look at your past year as, oh, again, I wanted to lose weight and I never did that. But to give yourself some encouragement and some pat on the backs and some kudos for what you did this past year.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't do that enough. I mean, we should, not only should we do that on a yearly basis, but I mean, I tell my clients, write your win down every single day, whatever it is. Like, it can be so small, you know, whatever it is, whatever was challenging that day that you actually completed, write it down. It's a win, because you could have blown it off, right? You could have said, no, I'm not doing it. And we don't do that enough. We discard everything that we do, like, oh yeah, well, whatever. And then it's on to the next thing. And we don't take that time to really kind of go, hey, well done. Like, you know, good job. You did a good job.
And it could be the simplest thing. It could be, I had my water intake today.
Yeah.
I went for a walk.
Yeah.
I cooked meal at home, and when I wanted to call up and get fast food, I put money in the savings, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. But you're right, Tracy. That, I love that. Write down that daily win.
The win of the day. Yeah. Win of the day.
You know?
It's like, and it can be great. It can be small. Like you said, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's just a matter of taking that time, and that builds a muscle within yourself, that you're always looking for something positive within yourself, right? And that builds your self-confidence, it builds your self-esteem. It's like, right? So if I could tell again my younger self something, it would be, stop throwing away all the great stuff that you do and go, oh yeah, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? And then looking at somebody who's done exactly the same thing I've done and gone, wow, like, you're amazing. Like, holy cow. Right?
That's the same way when I'm talking with some coaching with somebody. It's the same thing with gratitude. You know, that daily, I am great. My eyes open in the morning. I am so grateful I had a good night's sleep. You know what? I'll tell you what, I might not have had the best sleep, But when you start putting your mind in, I had a great night's sleep, and you get out of that bed, one, you're not dragging, "Ugh, I had an awful night's sleep." Two, you're starting to set yourself up like, I'm having a great day. You know, you take those little bit, and I do the same thing with the gratitude. You might not be completely grateful for what it is, but talk about it as if you have that complete gratefulness. And then you're building to that same thing, that little win, that little that heightens that mindset, builds that mindset muscle.
Yeah.
Even if you, going back to the wins, I don't think anyone takes the time to list what they're good at. We're so good at saying what we're bad at. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. You know what? List out what you're good at and look at that list and go, holy crap, I'm amazing, right? Like it's, you know, give yourself some pats on the back.
But when you do that list, you can't say, well, I'm good at, but I could be better.
No.
No. You have to say, I'm good at, and stop. There's not, but like my son actually put me in my place once with that, because when I was training, I am not, and I'm not putting this in a negative, my pace, let me rephrase it. My pace running can be anywhere from 11.5 to 13 minutes per mile. My son's pace and my daughter-in-law's pace is anywhere from 7 to 9 minutes running. So I look at this and say, so I was on the phone with him and I said, I only ran 5 miles. And he's like, Ma, you ran 5 miles. Take the word only out.
Take the win.
Take the win. You ran 5 miles. Take the win. Take the word only out.
Yeah.
Take that, because there's that comparison aspect of it.
Yeah.
Take the win.
I think the other thing people do with resolutions too is that they come up with a list of 20 things. And it's like talk about burning your brain up right off the bat. It's like, how can you possibly decide that you're going to do 20 things and you've got to get out of the gate with all 20 things? It's like, pick one thing, take the one thing that if you do this one thing, it's going to have a ripple effect in the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
That's the goal to work on, right? That's the thing to work on.
Rather than feeling bad feeling bad because you didn't meet any of your resolutions. Like, how can you can't put that type of pressure on yourself.
No, not at all. I love that. Yeah, bring it down. Even, 1, 2, 3 is the maximum. No more than 3. Nothing. And you should put them in order of importance. Because you can't, I mean, what's that saying? And I'm going to say it wrong. I know it is. You can't be the master of, like somebody who's good at all, a little bit good at everything, but they don't master one thing.
No, something about master of all. Oh, geez.
Yes.
Kids, don't get old. That's the thing here.
Okay, kids, I'm going to use Google.
And master of none. I don't know the first part.
Yes.
Don't either. It is, yeah.
Blah, 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 and master of none.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. But while Michelle's figuring that out, there's nothing wrong with having 6 or 7 things that you want to work on over the year.
Yeah, for sure.
But we have to remember that it's over the year, not all at once. What is it, Michelle?
Jack of all trades, master of none.
There you go. That's it.
I got it. Google.
Another thing is that one thing, if you do go with one thing, say it is just being healthy. If you go and start looking and going, okay, I'm just going to kind of be aware of, maybe I'm going to take more sugar out of my diet, or I'm going to add more greens. And then that starts something where you go, well, maybe I should go for a walk today. It might be a month into you eating slightly more healthy, but it just starts to add to the original intention.
Yeah. It's like the pebble in the pond, right? It's that ripple effect that just starts going out to everything else, right?
Yeah. And when you do that, you also have to make sure that you, like you said, we've been saying, write down that whatever that win is for the day.
Yeah.
Because when your brain is, that limiting belief comes popping in, or that negative thought or whatever it is, stop it. You look at your list, you look at your wins. I don't care what anyone tells you. Your brain believes exactly what you tell it. It's not going to believe because Susie says da 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 da. No.
And it's going to believe if you're saying negative things to it. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now you have me both looking at how I'm going to do my New Year's resolutions. A little tweak to them. I will still have my goals because I do work on my goals every month. I do set a monthly goal that I want to work on because, for me, my New Year's resolution is crazy people. Just so I know, I signed up for another race. So
Good for you.
Doubles done 2022. And so that is a resolution, but within that, that's not my resolution that's like a snippet. It's like the health piece of it.
Yeah.
It's like my age is not going to stop me from running. And just so you know, in the world, people, I don't run it. If you have to walk it, hike it, crawl, slide, skip, that's what you do for these. And so for others, it's a 30-hour race. So you're just out on these trails, you come back, refuel, you go back out on these trails. So there is so much that, it's health. So that's it, but I just.
But where did that start from, right? Where did that start from? You didn't start from, I'm going to do this I'm going to do this race. It started way back.
Yeah.
You made a decision on probably one thing.
You're right.
Do you remember what that decision was?
It was I wanted to lose some weight. That infamous, let's lose weight. I hit 50. I was starting that, menopause type, that whole thing. I know. And I started with a DVD, Tony Horton, 10-minute exercising. And now I just kept pushing.
Okay.
You just, that one thing.
Ripple.
You never, that ripple. That ripple.
You should write a letter and thank Tony.
I should write him and write a letter.
You should.
But I love that, Tracy. I am going to write myself a letter to open at the end of next year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. But I'm also going to journal about what I accomplished this year, because I think that's very important for everybody to do.
Yeah. And if this is your first time journaling about your accomplishments this year, just keep it going, sister. Go all the way back. Whatever it is you remember that you've accomplished, write it down. Because honestly, you start doing this and it is absolutely amazing, the list that you do. It's another one of my things that I do with my clients is at some point during our sessions, I'll just say, okay, we're going to make a list of everything that you've accomplished. And that is from, passing grade school, high school, whatever that, your driver's license, I don't care what it is, you've accomplished something, we're writing it down. And honestly, my clients get blown away because we will have literally pages of stuff that we've written out.
But also, I think it's important to look at your accomplishment differently. And this is what I mean. When I'm working with somebody that has to go with their health and they're trying to lose weight or whatever, they'll be like, Michele, I didn't hit the weight I wanted to hit. I'm like, okay, go take a measurement. And they'll look at me. I'm like, go measure. I have them measure themselves before they start. And then after we finish, measure yourself afterwards. Mm-hmm. The weight might not have come off because you might have changed muscle mass. You might have changed all of these dynamics within your body. And when you look like that number, well, you're looking at the wrong number. You're not looking at your complete or look at a picture. There's different ways to look at accomplishments,
Oh, for sure.
you know, different ways. So don't always say, don't think you didn't lose the weight. Think of, my goal was to lose the weight. I'm still working on that, but look at what healthy changes I've made.
Mhm.
Yeah, you don't realize the change. You don't
Exactly.
realize the change.
Yes. Yeah. So make sure when you put your goal out there that there's different ways to just not monetize, is that right? The goal, like, don't make it, if it's like to lose weight, understand why you want to lose that weight. Don't make it about the poundage and only about the poundage, because you're never going to keep it off. You
Yeah.
really need to dig that, why that resolution, where you want your life to go. Why is that so important? Like,
Yeah.
write that out, like what you guys were saying. Like, write it out. Why is that so important for you to, I want to be a kinder person? Well, why? Is that the buzzword that's going around right now?
Yeah.
Or is there a reason why you wish to do that? I loved my mom today to death, but one day she said to me, why are you so kind? Like, how do you do that? And I was kind of startled at that question. Like, and I'm like, it's a choice. Like, she couldn't put her mind around that. Like, because it wasn't something that was in her makeup. Like, it wasn't something in her, the way she grew up. And not
Mhm.
that she was mean-spirited, she wasn't. But she's like, you walk by somebody, you're like, hey, how you doing? You don't know what kind of day they're having. Like, you don't know, like, that kindness. So I think it's if that's what your intention is, understand why that's so important to you. Like, that's important to me because that's not something I grew up with. And I wanted to make sure that kindness was always something in my heart.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.